What's up, YouTube? Merc here. I'm going to go through one of my favorite indicators and scan queries today. Essentially, this is for options trading. When you're going long in calls or puts, you want to find a time of low implied volatility on a high implied volatility stock. For instance, AMC, before its big break to 72, went from 25 back to 5, right? It's a high implied volatility stock that came all the way back down to 5, right? And then it went to 72. So you're looking to enter when the implied volatility, which is the likelihood of the stock to rise or fall, is low. So when the stock is low beta, you want to go long in a call. So what that means is you don't want to buy AMC call at 9:30 in the morning, which I'm sure all of us have done, right? It doesn't generally work out because implied volatility is really high in the morning. It's got a lot of potential to move, and then it kind of fades out throughout the day. We're not getting that volume punch we used to get. So in the second half of the day, all these calls are going from, net to 50% of what they were in the morning. So that is an example of when you don't want to buy a call. What this indicator does and what the scan query does is it allows you to see visually whether a stock is in a good spot to go long on a call. This won't help you determine whether the stock's going to go up or down, right? That's based on your technical analysis, but it will determine for you whether or not, hey, the implied volatility is pretty low. It's a good time with the relative strength and implied volatility to go long on a call. Now, I'm going to run through a few examples here. So this is the thinkscript thread that I am going to be going over, and I will post it in the comments here. So essentially, there's two bottom indicators. The first one takes the relative strength over the implied volatility percentile and creates a hot zone. It's kind of like a short squeeze. It's like, hey, nothing's really happening here. A big move's about to happen. It says danger, danger, danger when it's red, and as it leaves the red, you want to start going long. Now, that's a great indicator, but even better is when you add it with this guy down here, which is the second indicator. So what I've been doing is I use 3, but essentially what you'll see is when both indicators are in the sell or buy zone, like right here, it's going to be a good time to go long. Now, as you'll see, if you went long here, it would have hurt, right? That's based on your technical analysis. You have to know that the stock's done with its correction, but as it's getting to your expected finish range, right, then you'll see, hey, I think it's going to pivot here, and I'm getting a buy indicator. So it's just a little bit of confirmation bias. Plus, it gives you these nice visuals plus arrows. And even cooler than that is Cookie set it up so you can have a watch list which automatically updates and shows you stocks on different time frames that are signaling on these two indicators. So I'm going to run through everything real quick, and then I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So to download this, first things first, I'll show you mine. It's going to be a little bit different than whatever you see just because I've modified it a little bit. But you'll be able to play with yours. So this is essentially what you'll see. These two indicators plus on your chart, you'll see little up arrow, down arrows, and you can change the colors and everything, and they give little alerts. Now, let's go through some ETFs real quick. So I'm going to pull up futures for the NASDAQ, and I'm going to go to a week chart. Now, what you're going to see is it's very rare that we get any double buy indicators. So we'll go down to a day chart, and that's just because of the COVID crash. So if we go to a day chart, though, what you're going to see is as COVID hit, it was giving you all of these buy indicators, But what I really like is using the three of these in conjunction. So this one's, I'll have to find the actual script for this one before I share it, just to give credit to whoever wrote it, but it's basically the third confirmation I use. So once I get my anticipated shift, right, so we start to crash, I think we're going to shift somewhere around here. We don't, right? It keeps going. I'm waiting for this to start to pivot, and as soon as this pivots, plus I got my two buy indicators over here, I'm going long. It would be a nice little entry on major corrections like that. Now let's scope into something fun like a 3 minute. So what you're going to see on here is these are the caution and hot zones, right? So as it's going through these zones, the stock is dipping. Now the implied volatility is going down. So what you're waiting for is your buy indicators to line up at an expected shift. Now as soon as that happens, it'll tell you, hey, it's a good spot to enter, and you should be able to catch a nice big run. So if you take a look at just the 3 minutes on what this has been doing for us, you're never going to use your sell indicators in a bull market. Why? Because overbought doesn't mean much when the whole stock's overbought, right? So you're going to focus on your buy indicators unless you shift into a bear market, and then it would switch. So instead of focusing on your buy indicators in a bear market, you'd focus on the sells. And that's just smart trading. So zoom out here. Now here's where things get pretty cool. So we can go to a 6 minute. And what you're going to see, I'm going to pull up some different charts real quick. Let's pull up some fan favorites. How about AMC? So this is my AMC chart. I like to draw boxes anticipating where I think this stock will shift. So essentially this morning I drew two predictions. One of them was we reject and come down to here. We actually went a little further than I anticipated. The other was we break resistance and tests 57. So unfortunately, with the entire market selling off, AMC didn't really stand a chance. We dipped to my bearish estimate. But here's where things get cool. So on Friday, when I'm looking at a 6 minute chart, what am I seeing? So honestly, there's been, we're going to take away extended hours because we're worried about options. There's been very few entry alerts given. Now, this is because AMC's implied volatility is still so high, but what you're going to see is this is actually pretty good at picking up even the little swings. So, same thing. I'm waiting for double buy indicator plus bottom one going to green. I'll catch this little swing. It actually went against you this day a little bit, but if you held through the end of the day, you're making good profit. So, now, here's where things get pretty cool. So this is a watch list that kind of updates, and what you can do is you can change it around based on these two indicators. So it's creating a scan, and it's taking a look at all of the stocks in a 30-minute time frame that have hot zone indicators going on. So this is where this actual query becomes awesome. It's because, hey, I see unusual whales putting out Amazon feeds. Next thing I know, I see Amazon pop up here. Oh, double confirmation bias. It looks good to my technical analysis. I have it pop up here, and unusual whales throws an alert on it. So what you're going to see, though, is a vast majority of the alerts that come through unusual whales actually pop up on here. So what I'll do as I'm trading is I'll go to my scanner, and I'll click scan. I'll show you how to set all this up in a minute. But there's a looking at the day time frame, so I can change this. But essentially, this is looking for stocks that are hot, right, ready to be bought on a day time frame. So the bigger the time frame, the more likely you are to have a really nice swing. So eventually, this should load. Here we go. So this will pull up a scan of all of the charts, stocks that are in a day chart. Now I can save this as a watch list, but there's a lot right now. So what I'll do is I'll filter it by these two indicators. Now what I'm looking for is an up or a hot. So this is my smaller time frame, and this is my larger time frame. So I want my smaller time frame to be moving up as my higher time frame is hot or in a caution state. So what I'm looking for is something like MGM here. So if I go to my charts tab and take a look at MGM, what I'm going to see, I'm going to pull up extended hours again here. What I'm going to see is this entire day, since we've traded sideways, I've been getting buy alerts on MGM. Why? Because the implied volatility is really low, plus the relative strength is saying, hey, this is oversold, we should be buying this. So what I'll do is I'll pick up a small call if I like the stock, right? It comes up on my query, see an unusual whales, take a look at the chart. If everything lines up, I'll make a prediction, and next thing you know, hey, I'm getting buy indicators, right? I'll go long. So let me go through a couple I took today just off of this. So one was Disney. It gave me a buy indicator here on a 30-minute, but what I was looking at was a 3-minute. So on the 3-minute on Disney, I took a position right here, and it ran from 172 to 174 by the end of the day. Again, this is where you have to be careful. You can't just go off of every indicator. You have to wait for the stock to find a floor, and then once it finds a floor, you're waiting for it to go from hot, which is the danger, right, to a caution, and then as it's getting into the caution, then you're going to go long. So when you're looking at my indicators, buy, red to green. So as it goes from red to green, plus I'm getting my buy indicators, it's a pretty solid estimate of, hey, this should be a decent trade. So I'm going to run through a couple more that I took today just off of this. And again, this isn't me saying, hey, take every trade on here. Absolutely not. It's the exact opposite. It's me saying it's really, really nice to have an additional set of filters which shows you stocks that are inherently going to be better as an option buyer. Why? Because the implied volatility, you're not going to get wrecked. So Intel, I took Intel today. So Intel, I really like trading Intel. It actually trades really well. At least I've been trading it for so long. I'll show you my week chart real quick. Well, I've been trading it since September of last year pretty heavily. But going back to the 6-minute chart on Intel, what you're going to see, same thing. Your buy indicator as it comes from double, say 1, 2, and we're coming up. Good. Took that as a pretty easy trade. So essentially this is going to be really good on days that are dips. It's going to be really, really good at coordinating between something like unusual whales' feed, and even better than that, it's going to pop up throughout the day. You can pull up a bunch of different time frames on this, or just use your scan query to change it around. So let's say I go to the week charts, right? So now when I scan it, it should be a lot less, and I'll probably tighten this up, increase the volume requirement, and increase the minimum stock price to 20. Now when I rescan this, it'll be a lot smaller, giving you a small sample pool to look through. So let's take a look at these stocks real quick. So I'm going to save it as a watch list. I'm going to name it week hot zone by week time. Cool. So I saved that. And now my H hot zone by week time. So this is all saved as a watch list, and in here I can link it to a chart, pull up whatever chart I want. So this is all saying that all of these should be a decent time to enter. So there's a couple ways to look through it. I always use the hot zone line or the hot zone. So let's take a look at Best Buy. So Best Buy today took a nice big dip from 115 down to 110, and then I found a floor. Now, at this point, I'm getting, it's hot, but I'm not getting anything over here. Now let me show you a difference. So when I look at the longer time frame ones, like JD, which I also went long on today, again, this is where I went long, and then the whole market crashed. So I sold calls here to lock in profits. So I went long, was profitable, sold to open calls, created a debit spread, and then we tanked for the rest of the day. But same thing, you're looking for these stocks that are coming from a hot to a caution. BP I took today. Why? Because I think it's oversold. I think that will revert to the mean. I think we'll come to 26. So you take a small little position at the $26 call, which is trading way too low, right? The next day it reverts to the mean, sell it. It's super simple plays like this that really make options trading a lot easier. So what I'm looking for is two things. One, the most important, is a stock that I know how to trade. So I have to be able to do technical analysis. If I look at a 20-minute chart, can I predict where this stock is going to go? If I can't, what's the indicator going to help me with? Nothing. So learn how to do your technical analysis, but once you get that down, you can use external sources like Unusual Whales' feed or StockTwits or Twitter, whatever it is that you're looking for specific tickers. Throw them into a chart. Let's say I want to look at space. I really like trading space. So take a look at this Friday. And I got 2 buy indicators on Friday. So I went long. I actually went long because of a different reason, but for the sake of today, I'm going to show you this indicator and how you would use it. So I went long because of Elliott wave theory, but same thing, as we floored out here, I actually posted a couple entries on my Twitter that were all up over 200% today. So pretty nice setup. Now let me go to a different workspace and see if we can set it all up for you guys live. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, because I have all the studies saved, it's not going to work the exact same, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. So this is my Elliott wave theory. I really like charting. I think technical analysis is a skill that you can get better and better at. And when you find a rule-based system like the Elliott wave theory, which allows you to create predictions that have strict rules, that meaning if it invalidates a rule, your whole entire Elliott wave theory is off. You have to start over. But it'll give you a couple different predictive measures. So essentially, learn how to do technical analysis. It's huge, and you can definitely chart shit. So back to our indicators, though. I want to create a new study. So first thing first, I'm going to create a new drawing set just to clean this up. Okay. Next thing, I'm going to remove all of my studies. Great. Now I have this completely blank chart. 2 things I can do. One, I can go right to the thinkscript here. So, option 1, I copy paste this code. Okay, copy, very simple. Studies, edit studies, create, and then I'm going to delete this. and copy paste it in. Cool. Now when I click OK and apply, boom, we got our first one. Pretty simple, right? For the next one, we can do the same thing, but we're going to do it a different way just to show other way to do it. So we'll click the shareable link. So you can click view in thinkscript, but it usually won't work. We'll try it. So click view in thinkscript, click that, it'll pop everything up. So yeah, so we get an error on that. It's just thinkscript. They're not going to fix it. So what do? Open it manually, copy this, go back to our chart, top right where it says setup, open shared items, copy paste that URL. Now click preview. It's going to say hot zone line, right? And I'm going to open, import. So I already have it. Do I want to overwrite it? No. So, but that's how you would do it. And then we're going to add the hot zone line. So I like to go to user defined just because it's a lot quicker to find stuff. So studies, instead of going to edit studies and looking through everything or searching through it, you can go to studies user defined, meaning, hey, a user made this. So add study, user defined, and then you'll see whatever you want. So I got my hot zone line. I got my hot zone RSI. I'm going to delete this study just because it's not named properly. And then I need one more. Which is, we're going to go back to, just to show you guys how to do it, we're going to go right back. Oh, scroll down a little bit. And this is the upper indicator. So click the same thing. Open it. I'm going to exit both of these. I forgot which one. So upper indicator, click it. View in thinkscript. Open Zulu. Didn't work, right? Cool. So go back. Open manually. Copy it by clicking it. Studies. Setups. Open shared items. Copy paste this in. Preview. And it's going to be called thinkscript study 006-1. So I'm not going to import it just because I already have it. But then you would just go to studies, add study, user defined. Thinkscript study 006-1. So I'm adding that, and guess what? We have all three of those indicators set up. Now, how do I do a scan query with these? Well, essentially, I go to my scan, and I want to remove all of this. I'm going to load a scan query. So we're going to click our watch list, open manually, copy, paste. So now I have a thinkscript quote 202101116. So click that and then click open shared items after, import. And now I'm going to go scan, load, load what you just imported. So scan query, cool. Now, essentially it's saying, hey, if the up signal is true, or if it's caution, or if it's hot, then we want to know. So that'll give you a nice little scan here. And the next thing we're going to do is add the actual custom hot zone and hot zone lines, which is a little bit tricky. I don't really know how to do it, so I kind of did it myself. I clicked customize. We're going to remove a bunch of these. And then we're going to look up a column. We're going to name it custom. Got it? Okay. And then we're going to load the quote. I skipped a step. So I already had it in. So click cool. So see, we added one of them. Now we'll add the second one, and then we can do the same thing over here. So customize. So we're going to look up custom, and this will show you all of your stuff. So we're going to add hot zone. Cool. And we're also at hot zone line. And then click OK. Now we get both of these things added. So the next thing we're going to do is edit the formula, and then change the time frames so that they're different. So let's make the first one, I usually use a 30-minute, and click apply. And then for the second one, we're going to customize or edit formula, and we're going to go to 4 hours. Now this will give you two different time frames showing you the same ticker with the hot zone indicators in the watch list. So now this is just you can load any watch list to this. So you just want to set this up. So load all your scan queries and then set up your watch list. And then from here, you're going to actually load your entire scan. So hot zone by 30 minutes, right? Now this will show me a scan query, which will pull up a bunch of these eventually. Cool. So now I'm seeing, hey, look at this. It's giving me an AMC one. And this is searching every stock, or all symbols right now, and I really want it just to be stocks, so we'll go to all stocks. Cool. But let's take a look at AMC. So this is linked to red. We're going to link it to purple just so we can see. AMC. And then this is just a naked chart. I have a couple other auto scripts on there which won't help you unless you know how to do technical analysis as it is, but one of them just a high-low script, and the other one's showing you VIX, total percentage of volume, and what's the third one? Yeah, I've gone through a lot of studies. I apologize about the mess. So this is supports and resistance, so add this one. And then, hey, it'll show me for the last 10 days what the supports and resistances are. So I like this because it's pretty good, but it does change on you throughout the day. So if this was to tank lower, it would just drop with it. You're really looking for, hey, as it tests this resistance, will we break it? So if you looked at any of my trades today, I mentioned 53.25 a bunch of times. So I like this one. You can look that up. It's just a high-low script. And then the other study I really like, so user-defined. is gaps. So this is probably one of my favorite studies, especially for trading OTC stocks, because they really respect the gap. If it gaps up, sell that shit. It's gonna go test the gap, fill the gap. But with AMC, essentially, it'll show you like this red gap means, hey, we gapped down from Thursday to Friday, and then today we gapped up, but you can see we ate that whole gap, right? So we still have to fill a gap to the upside. And then another study I like. So these are all just little things that you can add to make your life easier. But back to the video, because it's getting a little long here and I don't edit or anything, as you guys know. This is what your indicator setup should look like. I'm going to go to my actual setup. So I think it's called cream of the crop. There we go. And this will boom. This is one of the ways to set up a query, but essentially you can play with that and limit it down. It'll show you a nice little feed throughout the day that kind of rotates around, and then just filter it by using the hot zone. So you're looking at 2 different time frames. So if I look at this, edit the formula, it's a 4-hour. If I look at this and edit the formula, it's a 30-minute. So there are 2 different time frames. They should be switched. And now, hey, American Airlines is hot on a 30-minute time frame, right? But it's not showing anything on the 4-hour. Well, what does that mean to us? Well, it means, hey, we should take a look at this because it might be, reverting here. Nothing really popping out. So same thing, you can kind of go through these, but what you'll see is it pulls up a lot of awesome things. And then as I go to my scan, I'm going to edit this, right, to be more specific, and then change this to 30 minutes. Great, here we go. So BP or TIGR, Tiger. Let's see. So now we have one that's saying up on the 30-minute and it's hot on the other one. So let's take a look at this stock. And what you'll see is, hey, look, we gapped down, right? We traded horizontal the whole day after gapping down, and it gapped down not just a little bit. It gapped down from 25, right? So this is a holding company, so I don't really know much about them. So I wouldn't recommend trading them, but I'm just trying to show you for an example of what you'll see. So I only really trade stocks I understand. I need to have a grasp of the actual due diligence behind the trade, or rather why the trade makes sense. I don't just trade technicals. So, but to finish this is look through. So this is a 6-minute chart. We're going to pop it to a 30-minute. Now, why are we getting a buy, right? A caution and a hot? Because on a short time frame, it's cautioning you, and on the long time frame, it's a hot, right? So what you're looking for is that transition from hot into the caution here. So by using 2 different time frames, you can capture it. So 30-minute hot, right? You get it. Now as I'm capturing here, the next 4-hour one will go to hot, ideally. And this would be, a simple trade. If you took it from here to here, you could scalp an option. The reason I love this setup so much isn't because it's this holy grail of setups. No, it's because it gives you a really good understanding of what you're looking for. I'm looking for a stock that's in a low implied volatility state, that's giving me multiple buy signals, saying, hey, it's way oversold down here, right? And the IV is low, meaning the call prices will be very low. So I took some trades in BP which you'll see, we went from 25 to 25.73 to 26, right? It's not a huge move, but when you're buying the $26 call, that's a 10% swing on the call. Because the implied volatility is so low, as you get in, you're getting a nice 10-20% move on the actual call. Let's go through some more. Bank of America. So, Unusual Whales, I tweeted at him this morning. Bank of America was tanking in pre-market. So, before the market opened, I said we were going to test low 30s. I should have bought a put. But yeah, I just asked him jokingly if there was some big put buys, because in pre-market, I just knew immediately once we broke this support that we were going down. But now that we're all the way down, right, total opposite side of the day, we're getting a buy signal here, and it's saying on the short time frame that it's moving up, right? Cool thing to have around. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for the video here. I'm sorry it dragged on so long. Hopefully there's everything you need in it and a little bit of an understanding on how to use these indicators. So for buying calls, what you're looking for is a very high alpha stock, right? Not a low, high beta stock. Maybe I got that wrong. A high movement stock, we'll go with that. So you're looking for a stock that makes major moves, that's in this weird period where it's not moving, right? It's just correcting. So when you see a gap down and then a stock trading flat, the implied volatility is going to be pretty low. Now, if your technical analysis and your common sense tells you, hey, this is going to revert, right? Like it will reverse back to the mean, it's a great time to enter. What I've been having the most success with is using Elliott wave theory, so gauging where these corrections will anticipate, and finding the stocks through my scan query, plus using Unusual Whales as feed. So the combination of those three things has just been crushing it for the quite a long time, honestly. I love trading, especially trading options, and the more statistically, the higher success rate you can get, right, on your entries, just makes everything so much better. So I'm just going to scroll through some charts here. So we're going to go through my entire watch list, and I'm just going to show you what this indicator is doing. So obviously these are all bad buys, but what we're looking for is the conjunction of all three. So right here you get one, right? 1, 2, 3. It's telling you to buy here. The stock actually does a nice little run, but it was a bad entry. So as this stock comes up, you need to learn to set a trailing stop loss or set your stop loss to your entry once you go green. That way you will avoid this, right? Bad entry. Why? Because none of these are giving you that third confirmation. You're getting 1, 2. So I really like this trigger one. So 1, 2, nothing. Still going, nothing. Finally, right? 1, 2, red to green on the third one. That'll get you a nice little swing. And you can pretty much do that for any single stock you look at. So we went from the NASDAQ, now we'll look at S&P futures. So today we got a nice little buy indicator on the S&P futures at 1 p.m. It told us to go long. And if you did, we can actually take a look here. I'll show you. So I'm going to pull up SPY. It's going to trade cyclical to that. They're sympathetic. So it's pretty much the same thing, right? 1 o'clock, we get this buy indicator. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the SPY option chain. So let's go to the July 7th ones, which are Friday. Nope. They're doing 2 in a row. Oh, that makes more sense. Because Mondays. So we'll do the 9th ones, right? If I take this call, it's lagging a little bit. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to move it over to a watch list. Got it. Say chart options. So you take the options you want, Control C, paste it into a watch list, link that watch list to a chart. So left side will be the underlying SPY, right side will show that SPY option. Now what I want to show you is the price of this option just based on how it traded. Great. So ready? We're going to pull up a 1 minute chart on both. Our entry alert, where all three were entered, was at 12:23. You would have gotten the absolute low of the day, and you would have been able to close it at the end of the day for 100% gains. Now, why is that awesome? Because a lot of people have a tendency of buying every single dip thinking it'll come back. But if you buy this call, right, it started at 277. It started higher than it closed. So you bought it up here. Even if you held through the end of the day, you'd still be bag holding. Now that's terrible. You don't want to do that. No, don't do that ever. So use your indicators, wait for the hot zones to line up, get a third one you like, use your technical analysis. What you'll see is not only did this give me a buy indicator, but look at my SPY chart, right? I had two predictions from the morning. One of them was, hey, the 10 o'clock news, which was PSI for something, was good. We'll go right to an all-time high. Well, that's 436, right? Didn't happen. Bad news, right? So we tanked all the way down. And what you'll see is I actually anticipated ahead of time. You can take a look at my charts, which I posted on my Twitter, both of these. So that way, when I get this buy indicator, it's not just saying, hey, buy it. The indicator's lighting up, right? No, it's saying, hey, it's pivoting in my expected range, and I'm getting a technical alert saying, good, right, buy. Cool. This video went way too long, guys. I really hope this helps. Sorry I went 40 minutes. Good luck with your trades, and leave some questions and comments in the chat below, and I will definitely do my best to go over them later tonight or tomorrow. Alright, posting this, not going to look it over. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Share, like, and subscribe if you would.